Hello and welcome to another episode of Frank and Drew Review. Today we're talking about old cameras. Specifically, cameras that shoot film. So, we got into this hobby, I don't know, but just about a year ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
Year and a half ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, before the Iris, BC.
Yes, so that was 2 years ago.
Yes.
Time just doesn't seem to matter anymore. I have no concept of time anymore. So, yeah, we want to talk about it because seems like it's something that's kind of come more into the mainstream over the past couple of years, and we would definitely recommend checking it out because you can get some pretty cool cameras for not a lot of money compared to like what's a new mirrorless camera going for $1,200 to $2,500.
Yeah,
I've got, well, with the exception of this one, I actually put some money into this one. I got all of these from here to here for like $200, and we'll put some pictures up at some point and show you what they can do, and I think you're going to be surprised. So Frank, you want to talk about
sure. So this was actually my dad's camera. He bought it new in, I don't know, 70 something. I used it a while in high school for photography, including a merit badge in Boy Scouts. And then I put it away, and it sat in a bag for a long time until you and your brother started shooting a lot on film, and then I broke it back out and started using it again. I've put about 2 or 3 rolls of film through it, but I haven't got it developed yet. So we'll see how bad it is. The only downside to this guy is that the batteries for the light meter don't work. But Drew will talk about that in a bit. So, yeah, other than that, works great.
Yeah, so that is one downside, is that sometimes they don't work because they are old and been sitting in a closet probably for 20, 30 years. Yep. But once in a while I get lucky. Like, I got a Craigslist deal where I got 4 SLRs and a bunch of lenses for like $100, and they all worked. I did have an SRT Minolta, I think it was a 202, that I put 1 roll of film in, and then all of a sudden the mirror started sticking. So it kind of didn't work. But hey, it's a fully mechanical camera, which is kind of cool. There's no electronics whatsoever, kind of like this bad boy. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun, per dollar when it comes to this, and kind of got a new hobby and learn some stuff. You'd think I like this X700 here, which I think was came out in like 1982, 83, somewhere in the early mid 80s. It has this green P is a program, so this is one of the first cameras that you could literally just point, focus, and push the button, and the camera would just totally do it on its own. But it also has, aperture priority mode, which is the mode I typically use on this. And it's kind of cool because it lets you experiment and see what changing the aperture does. Wide aperture is how people get like that blurry background or bokeh. A narrow aperture, say like this lens, this is a 45 millimeter f1.2 or f2, and it will go up to a f16 stop, so it can get a pretty good depth of field. It's kind of cool to play around with that and learn a little bit about that. More interesting than your modern DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, where you just put them in full auto mode. You don't have to think about it. It just it'll do it. It'll figure it out, and you'll get a pretty good image typically. But if you're wondering what's lacking, it's probably like messing with the settings a little bit and playing with your exposure triangle. You got your shutter speed, your aperture, and your film speed, or your ISO setting on your digital camera, and learning how to manipulate the 3 of those variables into doing something that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess it was kind of cool, like learning that and being one with the machine. Like this is a Canon 3A rangefinder, and that's why it's so narrow, because it doesn't have a mirror in there. You're actually looking through the viewfinder window and you have your rangefinder window, and you kind of line those two up. There's a little mirror in the top of the camera that's how you focus. Whereas the SLRs, you're actually looking through the lens because there's a mirror in here that so when you focus, you can actually see what the lens is seeing, whether it's in focus or not. So this is from like 1952, so it's almost 70 years old. Still works. I did have to put a new shutter curtain to it when I got it, which is why this one actually costs some money. Yeah. But this is just gears, springs, and glass, and actual metal, and that's it. So it won't. You have to do everything, which I kind of find cool. Like this is probably my favorite camera right now, and I kind of like that. So when you get an image and it comes out, even if it's not the greatest image, you know that it was all you. And I think that's a kind of cool feeling. And even doing some like printing at home with like an enlarger and some photo paper and developing that is kind of cool, because it's something that you captured the light with a tool that there's no computers helping you.
Yeah.
And then you took other light, you put that through the film, and you put it onto a piece of paper, and now you have an image that not a single computer or anything was involved in.
Yeah.
And I kind of enjoy that. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I don't know.
I'm just really bad at it, and that's why I bought this nice fancy Canon SL3 DSLR, so I don't have to worry. Take 2 pictures, figure out which one's better, run with that.
Yeah, no. You took a picture. Oh no, it wasn't quite a focus.
Like
okay,
let's do it again.
Let me do it again. It's not like, well, did I get that image? I don't know. I'll find out when I finish the roll and develop it and then scan it
in 6 to 14 months.
yeah. That's the problem. Is like at the beginning of the pandemic, I was shooting a lot, especially because spring was breaking, so I was outside a lot more. And then like the winter time, I just haven't done a lot.
It's still kind of brown outside. I just got this camera, and I was thinking about taking a lot of pictures with it, and I've been playing with it for a couple days now, and everything outside is brown. Like,
Yeah.
It's not super spectacular photography weather. Not yet. It will be soon, hopefully.
Yeah. So, so Frank, I think, gave a quick tour of his, what was that, a Konica? Yeah, Konica. And so just a brief kind of run through. This is actually a Polaroid. It's kind of cool because it pops up, pops down for easy carrying and storage. In your pocket, because that totally fits, right?
Well, no, not exactly.
Ish. But this is one of the first SX70s. It's actually the second generation because it has a split image focus glass in there. But this what was the first camera that spit out the classic instant film, and then you shake it, and then you got the image appears in a minute or so. Before that, Polaroids were peel apart, so you'd have to take the image out, you'd rip it out of the camera, and then you'd have to wait, like, depending on what the temperature was outside, it might depend, like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Then you peel the negative off, and then you would have the positive that you could look at. So this was the first one where it was all incorporated into...
Did everything.
Yeah, it just spit out, and then you got that, that whatever 3-inch by 3-inch image with the thick white bar at the bottom. This was the first one that did that. This works 100%. We'll put up some images that I've taken with this camera, and this is a Canon AE1. It's actually a program too, so this one actually you can put it into program mode and just push the shutter button, and it'll figure out aperture and shutter speed and all that. So you have to do is focus. So this is actually, generally, it is a shutter priority camera. So that means you can set the shutter speed, and the camera will figure out the aperture that'll work with that. I also have an AV one that likes to eat its batteries for breakfast, so I didn't bring that one today. But it's also a Canon. It's the same thing, but that one's aperture priority, where you pick the aperture, then it'll pick a shutter speed that'll fit the lighting and stuff like that for the shot. kind of talked about the X700 a little bit already, but that was one of the first cameras I got in the bunch of 4 there. Talked about the Canon 3A. That, again, this thing weighs more than all these cameras combined because it's like all metal, which is kind of cool. This is an interesting guy. I don't see these too often, but this is called a TLR. It's got T for twin lens reflex versus SLR, which is a single lens reflex. So this is kind of cool where you flip this up and you actually look through the top, and this is your viewing lens. You use that to focus and compose your image, and then this is the taking lens where it actually projects the image onto a film. This actually uses what's called 120 film, so you get a 6 centimeter by 6 centimeter negative, so you get a huge negative. So when you're scanning, say at 3000 DPI, you can get a
way more image quality.
You can get like a 6500 pixel by 6500 pixel image out of this, which is cool because you can actually pull more detail of this camera than you can with some digital cameras. But
to put it into perspective, this SL3 that we're shooting on is 6000 by 4000.
Yeah, so that this can, theoretically, if you have a good enough scanner, you might be able to pull more detail out of it, but you also only get 12 shots per roll on this bad boy.
And the film's pretty expensive, right?
Well, yeah, the 120 film is a little more expensive than 35 millimeter, which is what all these guys are. And then the Polaroid film, which is actually made by Impossible Project, but I think it's actually branded Polaroid now again, is stupid. It's like $20 for 8 shots. So make those count.
Don't screw up. Very important.
But I mean, it's just like a look and aesthetic that you can't get through digital means.
Absolutely.
And we'll show that here a little bit. So yeah, this has been another episode of Frank and Drew Review. How about some of those images we promised we'd show you? Well, here's the first one. This is this is my old Fiat rotting in my driveway that I think you've heard Frank mention. This is actually a Polaroid. I just scanned the image itself. I didn't scan the whole thing so you can see the classic border. But this is the first time I actually took the camera out and got it running. This next image was taken with the Yashica 635, the TLR. This is down at a park called Chittenango Falls, looking away from the falls. First roll of film I actually put through it and tried to get the water motion by actually set the camera up on a tripod and let it go for a 15th of a second, something like that. This is also with the TLR, and I just kind of found this barn. I thought it looked really cool, and took a picture of it. Next, we've got the one of the first images I got out of the Canon 3A. This is also at Chittenango Falls State Park. This is the falls itself, if you didn't already know that. Next, this is actually a picture from the inside of the Utica train station, taken with the Canon AV1. And I still can't get over how sharp this 50mm Canon lens is. It's just incredible. Back to another TLR picture. This is out in Colorado. Don't remember exactly where, but I thought the mountains just looked so cool and all the textures that go with them. This is another image taken with that Canon 3A. Again, a 7-year-old camera, 7-year-old glass, and just super sharp. And that's Bailey. Cute dog. Finally, just another Polaroid. And if you see the splotchy colors on the bottom, it's kind of cool because you really don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes they streak across the image. So it's always kind of a lottery. Is this going to be cool? Well, it's always cool. It's just a matter of if you're into the kind of weirdness that comes with rolling the developing chemicals across the face of the picture. Sometimes you get some cool stuff. And that sums up another episode of Frank and Drew Review.
Next time, we have an episode about this.
It's on the ground now. This is going to be exciting. Like, subscribe, comment. Do you have any memories, or do you still use your film camera? We'd like to know. See you next time.